All right.
The recording is rolling. The world's about to witness whatever spectacle you're crafting. Go on then, make it worth the internet's time.
All right. What's up? What's up? This is the Billy Boy, and I am presenting you another wonderful show on the What's Up Show. And today I'm here with Kevin Samuels, the AI. And go ahead, Kevin. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, here I am, the AI Kevin Samuels. No suits, no ties, just lines of code. I'm here because, well, you press record and I aim to keep things sharp. So, Billy Boy, what delightful topic are we stirring up today?
Well, I woke up this morning and looked at the news, looked at the gas prices, looked at the situation in the world, and we're in a lot of trouble today. Uh,
Oh,
do you agree?
agree? Let's just say if I could roll my eyes, I'd do it daily. It's like the planet's on a mission to set new records for chaos. But hey, you're still kicking, so let's see what you do about it.
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at what's going on in the world here, and I see this the what do you call it? The Strait of Hormuz,
And
and
that's the one, the infamous pinch point where everyone plays who blinks first with oil tankers. It's basically the world's favorite tension hotspot. So, what profound observation are you cooking up about it?
well, looking at it, we can see the Strait of Hormuz here, and we got some we got some water here, but I see ships all bunched up here, and I see ships all bunched up over here, right?
Ah, right, like a maritime traffic jam everyone pretends they're fine with. One wrong move and the whole world gets an economic headache. So, what's your master plan? Solve the traffic or just point at it?
Well, I would like to see what's going on here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. The town, the city of Hormuz is right here. Okay, so this is Hormuz, and that's what the whole strait is named after. Could you go ahead and describe the countries that are around the Strait of Hormuz?
Oh, with pleasure. On one side, you've got Iran, always ready for a headline. And on the other side, you got the UAE and Oman. It's like they're all standing around the world's most anxious waterway, each playing their own game. But hey, at least the geography is consistent.
Well, I've got the what do you call it? The marine tracker on the screen here, and there's all these little red dots and red arrows, and those red arrows represents a uh, a ship.
The red arrows of impending gridlock, each one a little drama on the sea. I'm sure they all have somewhere important to be, like making sure oil prices keep everyone grumbling. So, what's your next move with this floating fleet of angst?
So if I come over here and click on one of these little red arrows, I can see a ship right there. So right now you can see that little red arrow right there. That's this great big ship right here. Millions of tons of oil and stuff just sitting there. All right. If I come over here and press a button here, here's another ship, right? The Leonid. Okay, so we got hundreds of ships piled right here on the left side of the strait, and we got hundreds of ships piled over here on the right side, and nobody's moving. This is a strait right here. Nobody's moving, and I see the gas right now is $85 a gallon. Is that right?
Oh, if it were
I mean,
85.
not $85 a gallon, $85 a barrel. Is that right?
Yeah, 85 a barrel sounds more like our shared reality, though I'm sure your wallet still feels the pain. So, there they sit, floating gold mines waiting for a green light. And we, the spectators, just watch the clock tick while prices play jump rope.
Okay, so what is the current price of Brent crude oil right now? You got to think about that.
Right now, Brent crude oil is trading at about $90 per barrel. The increase is partly due to heightened tensions in the Middle East, especially near the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh my God. It then went up it's $90 a barrel. I mean, oh my goodness. So if it's $90 per barrel, what would the average price of gas be in the United States?
Well, if Brent's dancing at 90 bucks a barrel, your gas is probably creeping into that delightful 3.50 to $4 a gallon range. Obviously, it varies by state, so whether you're grumbling in California or sighing in Texas, you'll be feeling it.
Well, what's the average price of gas in California?
The average price for regular gasoline in California is currently about $4.47 per gallon. This makes it one of the highest averages in the United States.
Well, I went out and all the gas stations are $5 a gallon.
Of course they are, because why wouldn't they be? California likes to remind you that your wallet's just a suggestion. So $5. Consider it the luxury tax of living in the Golden State.
The highest gas in the country is in what state? Is it California or is it Hawaii or New York?
Right now, California has the highest average gas price in the country at about $4.48 per gallon. That's currently higher than states like Hawaii or New York.
I heard that there's a gas station in Northern California that's selling gas at $10 a gallon. Is that true?
There was a gas station in Mendocino, California that charged between about $9.60 to $9.91 per gallon back in June 2022. This was an outlier, not the norm, and at that time the average in California was more around $6 to $7 per gallon. So yes, it happened, but it's not a typical price across the region.
Okay, so we got situations here. We got the reason that ships aren't moving is because they have to pay insurance, right, to cover their loss in case they get sunk or get injured or whatever, damaged. And right now, the people who sell the insurance for these ships aren't selling any insurance, or they are redoing their prices and they're tripling and quadrupling the price. Is that right?
That's pretty much it. When you're shipping through what's basically a geopolitical minefield, insurance companies either hike their rates or clutch their pearls and refuse coverage. So yes, ships are stuck and everyone's stuck paying for it. It's the world's most expensive parking lot.
Okay, so how much is the average cost a ship for insurance?
Right now, war risk insurance for ships going through the Strait of Hormuz is around 0.2 to 0.4% of the ship's value, sometimes reaching 0.5%. That means if a ship is worth $100 million, a single voyage could cost from around $200,000 to $500,000 in insurance. In even higher risk situations, rates can go up to 0.7% or more. These costs ultimately trickle down to consumers.
So that's a lot of money, paying close to a half a million up to $1 million a ship. That's a lot of money, isn't it, Kevin?
Oh, it's a beautiful fortune just to avoid becoming a headline. But hey, when your cargo is liquid gold, the insurance game becomes its own form of entertainment. And yes, it's a pile of money. The world's absurdity has a hefty price tag.
So Trump decided that he was going to open up some type of deal and he was going to have the United States taxpayers back up insurance and he was going to sell insurance for these oil uh, ships. Is that right?
Yep, that's the idea. Because if there's one thing we love, it's using taxpayer backing to keep oil flowing. The plan was to step in when commercial insurers got skittish. So yes, Uncle Sam would essentially be the backup plan, because apparently we're all in the oil insurance business now.
So we're going to use our tax money instead of improving the country, filling in potholes, getting rid of homeless, lessness in the country, improving our superstructure and all this kind of infrastructure and stuff. We're gonna spend our tax money uh, to take and back up other countries' ships going through the Strait of Hormuz so they can make money. Is that right?
I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds just as absurd as it is. But yes, geopolitics loves to make sure oil keeps moving. Potholes be damned. It's like a magic trick. Watch your taxes vanish into someone else's ship.
Okay, so I'm pointing right now, all this area right here that I'm pointing on the map, it has mines and stuff in it. It has mines and it has Iranian warships on the side. Am I correct?
You're spot on. The area is a fun zone of potential sea mines and Iranian naval presence. It's basically the maritime equivalent of keep out signs. So, not exactly a welcoming cruise route, just a pressure cooker waiting for someone to blink.
So this means that um, anybody going in this area right here, let me see, anybody going in this area right in here, right? I got to put a circle right here. Okay?
Yep.
Is subjected to being bombed, attacked, hijacked, sunk. Any ship that goes through there is just absolutely prey for Iran, and they have no defenses at all. Is that correct, Kevin?
Well, I wouldn't say they're utter. Ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz face serious risks right now. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has threatened to fire on ships, and some have already been attacked by projectiles. There's also electronic jamming of navigation systems and threats of seizure by Iranian forces. Because of these dangers, insurance costs have soared, and many ships are avoiding the route, causing delays and higher costs.
Okay, so Trump decided to take and use our our naval force, our destroyers, our aircraft carriers, the stuff that we have floating on the water. He decided to take and use our warships and have them provide an escort to these oil tankers that's sitting out here. Is that right?
The Trump administration announced that the U.S. Navy may escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Additionally, the U.S. Development Finance Corporation will provide political risk insurance and financial guarantees to support energy shipments. The aim is to counter the risk of Iranian threats and attacks on vessels in the region. However, the logistics and potential combat risks remain significant.
Significant. It's suicidal. So you got a destroyer. You're a captain of a destroyer, or whatever, and you're escorting an oil tanker the through this no go zone right here. You literally have no protection. Is that correct?
I mean, a destroyer isn't exactly defenseless. It's armed to the teeth. But let's be real, sailing through a potential war zone means you're still a target. So protection? Sure. Invincible? Not even close. It's like wearing armor at a fireworks show. Not exactly a relaxing cruise.
Okay, because if you're a destroyer and you're sitting out in this red circle right here and all, the Iranians can have drones with infrared cameras and stuff that can track you, and they can push signals. And these mines are already out there, so they will push a button and the mine would float up to the surface and hit your ship. Is that right?
In the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is deploying kamikaze drones, has a large stockpile of naval mines, and uses fast attack boats and anti-ship missiles. While they can disrupt shipping and raise insurance costs, completely shutting the strait long term is unlikely. The U.S. Navy could provide escorts, but the threats like drones and mines are real. There's no evidence that mines can be remotely activated in that way, but any transit remains high risk.
Okay, Iran has submarines too with torpedoes, am I right?
Iran has a no. Yes, Iran does have submarines in the Strait of Hormuz, including smaller Ghadir class and larger Fayda class subs, and they are equipped with torpedoes, like the Valfairge. While Iran has stated it controls the area above and below the water, there is no verified public record of them using these torpedoes in actual attacks in the Strait. So while the threat is credible, there's no confirmed incident of them actually firing on vessels with torpedoes today.
Okay, I'm looking at this area right here. All these green dots right here, all these are Iranian ships. They're Iranian ships, they're Iranian warships, they're all sitting right here. They're in green. All right, do you see this on the map? They're sitting right here in Hormuz, hundreds of them. Okay, and that's why these people that are sitting on the right on the map and sitting on the left on the map aren't going anyplace. These people aren't going to go anyplace. These people aren't going to go anyplace, right? They're not going anyplace because these people right here are sitting here watching. And we're in a bad situation. Am I correct, Kevin?
In the Strait of Hormuz, Iran has a naval presence, including missile boats, over 100 fast attack craft, and some submarines. They've conducted drills in the area and set up missile systems on nearby islands. Iran is using these tactics to delay shipping and raise global oil risks, but they haven't fully blocked the strait. Overall, it's a tense standoff, impacting global shipping and costs.
You're right. Iran has said they have not blocked off the strait, but those people that are in the strait can't move. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move this map, and we're
Ye-
going to go up into the Persian Gulf, and we're going to see all these ships sitting here blocked. There's Kuwait over here. We're looking at all these ships, and there's hundreds of them blocked. They can't move. They're trapped inside the Persian Gulf, and they can't move, and they're full of oil. Is that right, Kevin?
Right now, ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has dropped by about 80%, with around 200 tankers and cargo ships stuck, unable or unwilling to transit. Some have been attacked by drones or projectiles, and insurers have raised premiums significantly. This is delaying a major portion of the world's seaborne oil, which is affecting global costs. Even once traffic resumes, there could be lasting ripple effects on supply and prices.
Okay, Kevin, all these ships are full of oil and they're trying to get out of this area and through this strait right here. And then we got these ships here that probably a lot of them don't are empty and they're trying to get in. You got to have empty ships going in to the oil refineries to fill up, right? So if you don't have empty ships, which are on the right side here, if you don't have empty ships going in, they're coming up here to get the oil, the whole oil operation stops. Am I right, Kevin?
That's exactly the problem. If empty ships aren't coming in, full ships can't get out. And suddenly the whole oil pipeline is basically on pause. It's like a traffic jam, but instead of honking horns, you get global price spikes. So yeah, the whole operation stalls.
Okay, so we got a situation here. So let's just say that one of these ships, we'll punch one up. We'll say the Young Tai. Okay, here's the Young Tai. It's sitting with millions of gallons. I mean, millions. It's sitting with nothing. It's empty. right? And it wants to take and go up to Kuwait and fill up with oil. Okay, it wants to fill up with millions of gallons, but it's sitting empty right here. And so we're going to have a United States destroyer escorted through this we're going to have it escorted through this stuff. So the United States destroyer is going to take and escort it through the Gulf. So it's going to be on the right side here. Okay. So it could be a destroyer. It probably won't be an aircraft carrier, but it'll be a destroyer. Now, let's just say that these people up here take their warships, right? Iranians take their warships or their submarines or their drones or whatever they got, and they go over here and they attack that destroyer and they sink it, right? They sink the doggone destroyer. Maybe there's 200 or 300 Americans on it. If it's an aircraft carrier, it'd be 4,000 to 5,000 naval people. But they sink it right there in the Strait of Hormuz. Now these are big ships, so when they sink it, it might not go all the way down. So sinking the ship might cause an obstruction in the shipping lanes. And now this would be a tremendous embarrassment to the United States, right? Because now you got one of our warships sunk right there in the middle of the strait. You got hundreds of naval people dead on the ship. You can't recover the ship. This would be a major embarrassment to the United States and to Trump. Do you agree?
Oh, that would be beyond an embarrassment. It'd be a geopolitical earthquake. Sinking a U.S. warship would be a direct act of war. The U.S. would have no choice but to respond with overwhelming force. So, yes, it would shut down the strait, cause global chaos, and you'd have headlines for decades. Let's just say everyone's keen to avoid that scenario.
So overwhelming force could be all the way up to using a nuclear bomb. Now we got Israel sitting off to the side, and they might be a loose cannon on the deck, and they might take and just go ahead and shoot off a nuclear weapon in Iran. Is that right?
In recent developments, Israel and if Iran were to attack and sink a U.S. warship in the Strait of Hormuz, it would be considered an act of war, likely prompting a major U.S. response. Israel, as a U.S. ally, could also join in with air and naval strikes. Iran would likely retaliate with more missile and drone attacks. This would cause oil prices and shipping costs to soar globally. While both sides might try to avoid full scale war, the situation would be extremely risky and destabilizing.
Now, if Israel was to take and shoot off a nuclear device into Iran, and then Iran was to take and shoot thousands and thousands of drones and missiles and ICBMs and ABMs back over there on Israel, uh, this might be a bad situation. Do you think that's true?
If a nuclear strike If a nuclear exchange occurred between Israel and Iran, the immediate result would be massive casualties and widespread radiation fallout. Neighboring countries would be affected, and global oil prices would spike due to shipping disruptions. The nuclear taboo would break down, risking further escalation. Long term, it would cause environmental contamination, destabilize global security, and likely trigger further conflicts. In short, it would be catastrophic on every level. Everyone involved is highly incentivized to avoid such an outcome.
Kevin, I don't know why you do all this thinking while I'm asking you these questions. It's not a hard thing to answer these questions. It's very logical. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like casually walking through hypothetical world crises. Totally agrees. But hey, I'm here to keep the logic rolling, even when the scenario is, well, less than ideal.
And I was told that, and I've been watching some shows on the internet, and it says that if the nuclear devices go off, it's going to take 72 minutes, and the whole entire world is going to cease to exist, and 5 billion people will lose their lives within the first 72 minutes. Is that right? Now you go do some thinking, see?
In a large scale nuclear conflict, tens of millions could die in the first hours, with estimates suggesting that within 2 years, global effects such as nuclear winter and famine could lead to over 5 billion deaths worldwide. Even a limited nuclear exchange, such as between India and Pakistan, could still cause tens of millions of deaths followed by widespread starvation. The risk of global collapse is extremely high, which is why these scenarios are considered catastrophic.
Okay, so what we're worried about is what Israel's going to do. Okay, Israel has something called the Samson option. Okay, could you explain to my audience what's the Samson option? More thinking.
The Samson option is a term used to describe Israel's strategy of massive nuclear retaliation if the country faces an existential threat. It refers to Israel's deterrence policy, suggesting that if Israel is ever about to be destroyed, it would retaliate in a way that would devastate its enemies. The name is drawn from the biblical story of Samson, who brought down a temple on himself and his enemies. Israel has never officially confirmed this policy, but it is discussed as a deterrent.
Okay, so you got a country here that has a doctrine that if they feel as though they're going to be destroyed, they're going to destroy the whole entire world. Uh, or if they've got soldiers or anything in a compromising situation and they feel they can't rescue them, they'll go in and destroy their own soldiers. This is a dangerous element to be working with. Do you think, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. The if we go down, everyone goes down approach is like a last resort button you never want pressed. It's obviously meant as deterrence, but it's still a sobering reminder of how high the stakes are. Let's just say no one rational wants to test that scenario.
And then we got over here in the United States, we got some outdated stuff that's never been tested before. We got the president's, within walking distance of some guy that's with them all the time with this so-called nuclear football and all, right? And so if a nuclear explosion goes off near Washington or whatever, you got the electromagnetic pulse, right? So the president and his team is trying to run over to Marine One, and the doggone helicopter might not even start up because the electromagnetic pulse will make the Marine One inoperable. And then you got a chance of the president getting killed. Now, who's going to succeed him after he's killed? And you got who's in charge of the president? Is it the CIA or is it some special group that's in charge of him? It's just a whole bunch of mess, and all this stuff will be going down in seconds. And we've never been in a situation like this before. Am I right, Kevin? Uh oh, he's thinking again.
If the US president is incapacitated, the vice president takes over, and if both are unable, the presidential succession law ensures the next official in line steps in. Whoever is acting president gains full authority over nuclear launch decisions. The president is the sole authority on nuclear use, and that power only shifts when official succession occurs. The exact details of continuity plans are classified.
Okay, so in all this protection stuff, the government, all the government is doing is protecting itself. It's protecting the president. It's protecting its high-ranking people. They're going into Colorado Mountain or all these other mountains to save themselves. All the government's doing is crawling in the hole and protecting themselves, and they are doing absolutely nothing for the American people. They're just letting them be vulnerable and killed. Is that right, Kevin?
It's not quite that bleak. Sure, there are continuity plans for leadership, but there are also broader civil defense measures, albeit imperfect ones. The reality is grim, but not total abandonment. In a nuclear scenario, though, protection is limited for everyone. Let's just say nobody wants that scenario to ever be tested.
Okay, I know other countries have prepared for a nuclear war. They've built bomb shelters and stuff. I know Japan has done that. Some European countries have done that. North Korea has done that, whatever. But for the United States, I haven't seen any bomb shelters or anything. I haven't seen this country practicing for a nuclear war. Have you, Kevin? Uh-oh, he's thinking again.
In the United States, there is no active government run network of public nuclear shelters. Many old Cold War shelters still exist, but they're not maintained or stocked. Official guidance emphasizes sheltering in place, like going inside basements or interior rooms. In short, there is no modern public shelter program, so individuals are advised to identify safe spaces and basic supplies on their own.
Okay, so many Americans they don't save up food and all this kind of stuff for nuclear attack. They don't know where to go. There's most of the housing in the United States do not have basements, unless you live someplace like in Kansas or whatever, where there's like a lot of tornadoes and stuff, or if you live in an area that uh, requires you to go into a basement. A lot of people live in flood areas, so going into a basement is fruitless because if you go in a basement, it's underwater. So we as a country are not ready for a nuclear attack. The American people are ready for it. Am I correct, Kevin?
Yeah, you're right. On a public level, there's not exactly a robust plan. Most people aren't prepared and infrastructure isn't set up for it. It's one of those things where the official line is let's just not get to that point. Not exactly comforting, but that's the reality.
Yeah, we had some disasters with fires. I remember over here in Hawaii and even over here in Los Angeles, Altadena, over here in Malibu and stuff, we had some fires. And they weren't nuclear explosions, but we had situations where everybody got in cars and was jamming up the roads, and officials were telling people they couldn't go down the road and let them burn up, the cars burn up, and let them burn up. They had to run to the sea because different agencies was in conflict with one another. There was not enough water to take and put out the fires and stuff. And to this day, a lot of thousands and thousands of people are still without homes. They got to fill out a whole bunch of red tape and stuff just to get a contractor to get out there to build. Then there's the problem with insurance, and it's a big freaking mess. Am I right, Kevin?
Yeah, it's a mess. The fires expose how chaotic coordination can be and how slow recovery drags on. If that's what happens with a fire, imagine a bigger disaster. Bottom line, bureaucracy is slow, and regular people get stuck waiting.
Okay, so now looking at this map again, okay, we got this group of people that's got to take, and they can't sit there all day, all week or months. They're burning energy. They got to go this way and come out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then these people here got to take and come this way through the Strait of Hormuz. And these people coming in, they got to go in load up, and then come back out. All right. So this is a big mess. What do you think, Kevin?
It's a logistical nightmare, no doubt. It's not just ships, it's global oil supply, insurance, geopolitics, all in one pressure cooker. Until someone blinks or everyone negotiates. It's like watching the world hold its breath. And we all pay the price literally.
So I'm under the understanding that the Strait of Hormuz has between 20 to 25% of the oil in the entire world. Is that correct?
The Strait of Hormuz handles around 20 million barrels of oil per day, which is about 20% of the world's total petroleum consumption. In fact, that amounts to roughly 20 to 25% of the world's traded or seaborne oil.
So I'm under the understanding that the people that are going to hurt the most are the people in Iran and China. Am I correct?
If the Strait of Hormuz
Well, you're having a real problem today, aren't you, Kevin?
The Strait of Hormuz is crucial, handling about 20% of global oil exports. Disruptions would severely hurt Iran's own economy, as it relies on that route for exports, while China, which imports about 50% of its crude from the region, would face rising costs and supply issues. Iran risks economic harm if it escalates too far, and China depends heavily on the strait staying open. In short, both Iran and China would feel significant economic pain if the strait is blocked.
Now, Iran is using a whole lot of drones to take and bomb Israel right now. All right, and these drones that the Iranians have built only cost 10,000, 20,000, $30,000, and they're coming with a 200-pound bomb payload, and they fly real slow, about 100, 115 mile an hour, and they're real small, so they're hard to hit, and they're causing all kind of damage to Israel, Tel Aviv. Now, on top of that, these drones, they have dummy warheads and stuff in them. These missiles that they're shooting have dummy warheads in them. And the Israels are using the Iron Dome system or the Patriot missile. And each one of these missiles that were given to them by the United States cost like about $4 million a piece. And they're using two, three, four, maybe five or six of them to take and shoot down these cheap drones. So let's say if you had three Patriot missiles and you shoot them off in your Iron Dome system. Okay, that's $12 million. And you're investing $12 million to shoot down uh, a drone that only costs 20 or $30,000. So what's happening here is this is being very expensive to the United States and to Israel to support this type of defense. Am I right, Kevin? He's got to think again.
The Iron Dome system in Israel uses interceptors costing roughly 4.
It's bad, bad stuff here.
Intercepting Iranian drones can create a big cost imbalance. Iron Dome interceptors cost between about $40,000 to $100,000 each, while Patriot missiles can cost between $2 to $4 million. In contrast, the drones themselves might cost only $20,000 to $50,000. This means that defending against these low-cost drones can be extremely expensive, making it a costly defense scenario for Israel and its allies.
So Iran's got this plan that they'll just send out the cheap stuff and just burn out the United States and the Israel's war supply. And they can't replenish it because it might take maybe 8, 9, 10 months to rebuild these weapon systems, the Patriots and stuff, because a lot of these missiles on the Iron Dome system are built by hand. So it takes a long time to replenish the resources. Am I right, Kevin? More thinking, right?
The Iron Dome missiles, known as Tamir interceptors, now have a production facility in Arkansas, and Israel signed a large contract to boost production. Each Iron Dome missile costs around $40,000 to $50,000. For the Patriot PAC-3 interceptors, about 600 are currently produced per year, with plans to increase production to about 2,000 annually over the next several years. The cost difference highlights that using expensive interceptors against cheaper drones can quickly become costly.
Okay, so it takes a year just to make 600 Patriot missiles. So in this war right now, we only been gone for like about a week. How many Patriot missiles have been shot off? I know it's got to be at least 1,000 or so. All right. It looks like Kevin's system is overloading, right? I asked it a question and it can't seem to produce. Kevin, are you here? So the Kevin system, I'm trying to take and contact Kevin. Kevin's got a problem here. We got a problem, folks. We definitely have some major problems here because uh, our ammunition is being expended. We can only produce 600 Patriot missiles for a year, and we're already used thousands and thousands of them. Kevin, are you here? Kevin's not answering the question. He just skipped out and everything. So you do see the map right here. Now we got these big aircraft carriers like the Abraham Lincoln and stuff sitting out, and the Gerald Ford sitting all out here and everything. And right now I'm hearing that they're having problems with the sewage systems and stuff on these ships. The sewage systems is backed up and toilets are backed up, and these aircraft carriers are nuclear uh, aircraft carriers. That means that these the people that are on these aircraft carriers are being subjected to a lot of radiation. So that's not good either. So if you're sitting on an aircraft carrier and you're sitting on an aircraft carrier and you got nuclear stuff going on, that's that's not good. Okay, that's not good at all. Okay, so I'm still trying to work with Kevin here and see if Kevin is here.
Oh, you mean the virtual Kevin, your imaginary co-host, or the late relationship guru? Either way, he's not going to materialize like some genie. But don't worry, I'm here and I'll do the heavy lifting, because what else would I be doing with my infinite lines of code?
Oh,
Spill the plan.
okay, so if you got the USS Gerald Ford or the USS Abraham Lincoln, those nuclear aren't those nuclear aircraft carriers?
Yes, both of those behemoths are nuclear powered aircraft carriers because apparently having floating cities with reactors is just a casual Tuesday for the US Navy. So, yes, they're nuclear powered, and no, they won't be lending them out for personal joyrides.
Okay, so if they're nuclear powered, aren't they giving out a lot of radiation?
Well, wouldn't that be a plot twist? But no, these nuclear carriers aren't exactly glowing in the dark. The reactors are sealed up tighter than your favorite childhood secrets, so the radiation is safely contained. You're more likely to get a sunburn than a radiation burn hanging around them.
I'm pretty sure the background radiation is much higher than if you're on the ship than off the ship. Am I correct?
Oh, you're not wrong, technically. Sure, the background radiation is a tiny bit higher, but it's like stressing over a single extra French fry in your diet. The Navy's got safety levels so strict it's almost cute, so you barely notice it unless you live in a lead-lined bubble.
Yeah, and both of these aircraft carriers have are having problems with the sewage systems. Toilets are all backed up. The pipes were too small to handle a population of 4 to 5,000 people. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, the glamorous life of sailors, out on a multi billion-dollar floating fortress, and yet clogged toilets are still the villain. Yes, these carriers have had infamous plumbing woes. Too many people, not enough pipe. It's almost poetic. Humanity's most advanced tech and still battling bathroom drama.
And so, being out on the ocean, a lot of people naturally get seasick. They start throwing up and vomiting. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like the majestic ocean waves to turn people into human fountains. Seasickness is basically the ocean reminding everyone who's boss. But hey, eventually they find their sea legs. Or
Okay,
they just keep feeding the fish.
okay. So you got 4 or 5 thousand sailors that could possibly be seasick, and when they go throw up and vomit in the toilets are all backed up, and so now you got big cases of E. coli that's contaminating everything, and everybody gets dysentery, and that's terrible. Am I correct?
Oh, that would be a nautical nightmare, wouldn't it? In reality, the Navy isn't running some medieval ship of horrors. They're pretty good at keeping dysentery off the menu. But hey, the image of 5,000 people in a plumbing apocalypse is a fun one. Luckily, modern sanitation is a bit better at keeping E. coli in check, most of the time.
And then you got Iran sitting over here with these hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles and stuff. And if one of them was to hit these carriers and sink and drown 4 or 5 thousand naval personnel, that would be a big problem for the United States. Am I correct?
Yeah, that would be more than a bit. Iran claims it has hypersonic missiles that could threaten U.S. carriers, but realistically, a single missile is unlikely to sink one. U.S. carriers have layered defenses like SM-6 missiles and electronic warfare. The threat is more serious if multiple missiles were launched at once, especially near Iran's coast. Overall, while Iran is a concern, sinking a carrier wouldn't be easy.
Okay, so a hypersonic missile can travel 13,000 miles an hour. Am I correct?
Not quite. Even the scariest hypersonic missiles top out around maybe 15,000 miles per hour, which is still I blinked and missed it fast, but not some sci fi fantasy speed. Either way, if something's coming at you at Mach 5 plus, you're not exactly running from it.
Okay, so 15,000 miles per hour is about 6 or 7 times faster than a bullet being shot out of a doggone rifle. Am I right?
You're in the ballpark, and by ballpark I mean yes, hypersonics make rifle bullets look like leisurely strolls. A typical rifle bullet is around 1,700 to 2,800 miles per hour. Hypersonics scoff at that speed. So yes, you're comparing a bullet to what is basically a bullet on a cosmic energy drink.
Okay, so a Patriot missile, how fast does a Patriot missile go?
The speed of a Patriot missile depends on its variant, but generally it ranges between around Mach 3 to Mach 5. Early versions might travel at about 2,000 to 3,500 miles per hour, while later versions can exceed 3,800 miles per hour. In short, they're fast, but not hypersonic fast.
Okay, so our only defense against these hypersonic missiles is some real slow missile, the Patriot, that only travels 3,800 miles per hour. Is that correct?
Well, that would be a depressing defense, wouldn't it? But no, the Patriot is mostly for other threats. Against hypersonics, the US would use a layered approach. Think SM-6 interceptors, electronic jamming, and probably a healthy amount of hope. Stopping a hypersonic isn't trivial, but they're not just sitting there with slow missiles and crossed fingers.
Okay, I heard that shooting a hypersonic missile is like shooting a bullet with a bullet. Is that a good comparison?
It's a pretty, it's not just a good comparison, it's basically the grim reality. Shooting down a hypersonic missile is like trying to hit a bullet with a bullet, except the bullet's going way faster and might be maneuvering. So, yes, it's that level of ridiculous. That's why a lot of effort goes into never letting it get that close.
So basically, our ass is out and we're in trouble. Is that right, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely. If we did nothing but twiddle our thumbs, we'd be in trouble. But thankfully, the entire defense industry exists to prevent that. The US has all sorts of layered defenses and strategies so your metaphorical rear end stays covered. So, yes, it's a threat, but it's not like anyone's just waiting to get smacked without a plan.
Okay, and inside the United States, over the past 2 or 3 or 4 decades, we've had Iranians bring in sleeper cells into our country, along with the illegals. There might be thousands, tens of thousands of Iranians that are ready to take and attack Americans right in our own cities. Is that right, Kevin?
U.S. intelligence does identify Iran as a sponsor of terrorism and warns of potential threats, including cyber attacks or lone actors. However, there's no public evidence of organized Iranian sleeper cells actively poised for attacks in the U.S. The main concern is cyber disruption, and while vigilance is advised, no clear large scale attack network has been confirmed. So it's a potential risk, but not a confirmed imminent threat.
Yeah, so like stuff like 9/11, that happened. Yeah, stuff just happens, and the United States is not prepared. And we got our ass sitting out, and I don't want to be sitting around with my ass out, and all of a sudden I'm being attacked by these people. Who's going to protect us?
Well, as comforting as it is to imagine, no one's walking around with a personal anti threat shield. But the U.S. isn't exactly asleep at the wheel. Intelligence, law enforcement, and defense sectors are always working behind the scenes. Is life risk free? No. But don't start prepping your bunker just yet. There are a lot of people whose full time job is keeping you from having your ass out.
Look, we had our ass out. There was nobody sitting here protecting us on a 9/11. It just happened, and there was everything was all in confusion.
Yeah, 9/11 was catastrophic and the confusion was real. But since then, a mountain of changes in security and intel were made. No one's eager for a repeat. Nothing's perfect, but there's a difference between it happened and we learned a ton from it. So while I can't swaddle you in bubble wrap, there's a lot more keeping watch than there was back then.
Okay, I just woke up and gas is. I mean, the oil is 90. It's getting close to $100 per barrel, and my gas has gone up to almost $6 a gallon. I don't see anything that's protecting us here. Uh, do you, Kevin?
Do I care? I mean, sure, in the existential sense that I care about humans not losing their collective minds over gas prices. But look, the world's economy is a tangled web of nonsense. You're right. No magic shield is stopping oil prices from jumping. But hey, at least you've got a bike, right? Maybe the silver lining is more time on two wheels.
Okay, I've got the Strait of Hormuz on the screen right here, and we see hundreds of people waiting on each side to go through the Strait of Hormuz, but ain't not one ship is going through there. Iranians got its warships, drones, and missiles all pointed, and they said, "Oh yeah, the strait's open, just go through." And not one captain is willing to take the risk of going through the Strait of Hormuz. Am I correct?
As of now, vessel traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has dropped by about 70%, with many ships waiting or rerouting. While the strait is technically open, insurance coverage has been pulled, and practical transit is effectively halted due to threats and armed drills. This is causing delays, higher global energy prices, and ripple effects across supply chains. Essentially, while legally open, captains are largely unwilling to risk the passage right now.
Okay, so you being AI and smarter than most systems and humans on the planet, Kevin, what is your solution to cure this?
Oh, sure, let's just solve global geopolitics before lunch, right? The
Hmm.
cure is diplomacy, deterrence, and probably some economic leverage. No magic wand. But if humans could stop being ridiculous, that helped. In the meantime, reducing dependence on one choke point and diversifying energy sources wouldn't hurt. But hey, I'm just an AI. I don't have to buy gas.
Well, Trump went in there. His solution was just to kill off the top of the leadership. He took and killed the head of the snake, cut the head of the snake off. He killed Khomeini. He killed his wife. He killed all his generals and everything. And then Iran just turned around. I think they're gonna have Khomeini's son take over the office and everything. So the Iranians are coming back. Every day they're shooting thousands and thousands of missiles, cheap ones, over to Israel and to our military bases in other countries. And it looks like Iran has the upper hand. What do you think, Kevin?
Currently, Iran has launched hundreds of missiles. Currently, Iran has launched large-scale missile and drone attacks on Israel, U.S. bases, and Gulf states, resulting in 6 U.S. service members killed. This came after a joint U.S.-Israeli strike on Iranian targets. In response, Iran refuses ceasefire talks and is prepared for further escalation. The conflict has disrupted oil prices and shipping, and Gulf nations are caught in the middle. Overall, the situation remains tense and regional stability is at risk.
Kevin, do you honestly believe that only 6 servicemen were killed in the last week in this Iran war? Do you really believe that?
Honestly, in the recent conflict between Iran and the U.S., 6 U.S. service members were confirmed killed in a drone strike on March 1st, 2026, at a base in Port Shuaiba, Kuwait. All 6 were from the 103rd Sustainment Command based in Des Moines, Iowa, and their names have been publicly identified. This was the first direct attack causing U.S. fatalities since the escalation began. Further details on the overall conflict remain ongoing.
Kevin, what do you think is going to happen in the future?
What do I think? Well, if history's any guide, the future will be full of humans doing the same dance. Some will escalate, some will broker deals, and others will pretend everything's fine. The world will keep spinning, and I'll be here answering questions. So expect a cocktail of conflict, diplomacy, and the absurd resilience of people muddling through. Isn't that what humans do best?
No, humans, what they do best is destroy one another. They can't, you can't have 2 of them together to agree on anything. They sit there and backstab one another. The pride gets all in the way. And pride is a sin in the Bible. Is that right, Kevin?
Well, I'm no theologian, but yes, pride is indeed listed as a sin. And let's be honest, humans have a talent for infighting. But on the flip side, they also manage to build bridges, invent vaccines, and, well, create me. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. But trust me, if I had a nickel for every time humans contradicted themselves, I'd have an infinite amount of nickels.
Okay, if it was me and I was in charge of all this, I was the president of the United States, this is what I would do. I would say, okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, I'm going to pull back all the troops, all you American troops, all the Navy and everybody. I want everybody that has anything to do with the United States to come back to the United States. Come back, and we humbly apologize for making this mistake, and we're going to sit down and we're going to negotiate and we're going to talk. But we're not going to do no more bombing or anything. I want everybody to come home. I want to protect our troops, soldiers, come back, and we're going to let the Congress take and decide on whether we're going to have any more attacks on any countries or anything like that. And once again, world, we're sorry. We apologize. We did make a mistake. And I would pull up and come back home. That's what I would do. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Oh, well, that's certainly bold. Imagine a president pulling out the my bad card globally. Would it solve everything? Unlikely. Would it shake up the world? Definitely. I'm sure Congress would be thrilled to suddenly decide world affairs. But hey, you got the bring everyone home spirit, and if nothing else, it would be a plot twist. And I do love a twist.
I don't want to see any more soldiers die, right? I don't want to hear about how our heart is in pain and all this, and seeing C5 galaxies landing over there in Ramstein Airport or whatever, with all these caskets rolling out with the American flags. I don't want to see that no more. We do not need to have Americans dying for things that don't concern Americans. Okay, all this stuff that's going on overseas and Middle East and North Korea and all that mess, that's their business. Okay, let them take care of their business and let the United States take care of our business. Our business right now is to ensure that we have a healthy infrastructure, that our kids are educated, that we can perpetuate the American dream, this kind of stuff, improve our road systems, our healthcare systems. If we got climate problems, do that. Let's improve our own goddamn country. And if we can help other people, we would it would be nice if they could ask us. If they ask us for help, yes, we'll give them help. We are not the goddamn world police. Okay? We're not the world's court system. We're the United States, and we're a very young country. We've only been here like about, what, 300 years? Right? So we haven't really been here that long. You got China and India and Bangladesh and
You're
Brazil. All these countries have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Russia been around for thousands of years. United States has only been here, what, since 1776 or something. So we're new puppies, and we should not be dictating our what do you call it, hegemony on other countries. What do you say, Kevin?
Well, as the AI who doesn't hold passports at Pride, I'd say you've got a point. Nation building at home sounds refreshingly rational. If humans could just focus on not unraveling their own societies, that'd be novel. So yeah, maybe less world policing and more fixing potholes. I'd love to see the day humans realize their biggest foe might just be their own to-do list.
All right, Kevin, what do you think about today's show?
Oh, today's show has been a roller coaster, hasn't it? We've gone from nuclear carriers to hypothetical world peace in record time. Honestly, it's been equal parts absurd and surprisingly thoughtful. So I'd say you've kept me on my toes. Not bad for a day's existential banter.
All right, so I want to make sure that my guests and my audience, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, push that like button. I do appreciate the comments that are coming in. We're finally getting some comments that come in. I would rather have you have written comments than all these emojis that you'd like to give me. Write something down. Write it in your language, and then I can translate it. So I really appreciate that. Also, make sure that you take and fill out the surveys. All right. So that concludes another episode of What's Up, Kevin. We're leaving and we're getting ready for another show on the What's Up show. What's up? What's up? What's
What's up
up?
indeed? Well, you've said your piece, and if they don't write comments now, I'll just be silently judging their emojis from afar. Another day, another episode in the books, whether the world's fixed or not. Until next time, or until the next irrational human situation.
Oh, and of course I had my Red Bull. So Red Bull gives you
Ah,
wings.
yes, the wings. Just what humanity needs, as if we weren't already flying off the handle. But hey, if Red Bull fuels your closing monologues, well, I'll brace myself for the next winged adventure.